Dort. This is Luguentz Dort, and I'm down to dunk. This is Luguentz Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, this is Kenny Hustle, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Darius Baisley, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Poku, and I'm down to dunk.
I love cereal. Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cracklin Oat Bran.
Oh, I can have these. I'm going to share with my team, but I'm going to hog most of them.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is my good friend, Michele Barra. Michele, what's up?
Well, it's Monday, so everything looks and feels great. I'll have a new week ahead. A lot of great games, hopefully. I don't know. I should pretend a little bit with a better convincing tone, but hey, we have the future is bright ahead.
The Thunder play the Chicago Bulls tonight, who got completely destroyed by the Magic last night in Orlando. And here's the injury report. It's not looking too good. Lonzo Ball, obviously out. He's got a bone contusion in his left knee. Alex Caruso was almost murdered on live television the other night, is out. Javonte Green is questionable. Derek Jones Jr. is out with a hyperextended right knee. Zach LaVine is questionable with left knee soreness. Nikola Vucevic is questionable with a left patella contusion. And obviously Patrick Williams out with a left tear. For OKC, we got our G League guys out. Teo, who's actually played well in the G League since he has been down there, regularly scoring 25 plus points per game, which is good compared to what he had been. So
nice.
Perhaps he's not a lost cause, or perhaps he's just a G League level player. We'll see. Poku is also out on G League assignment, as is Paul Watson. And Derek Favors is out with lower back soreness. So it doesn't look too good as far as trying to lose this game. You had the Bulls traveling, second night of a back-to-back after losing. So maybe the losing will motivate them, light a fire under them. Probably better than them beating the Magic if we're trying to look at it positively. But also there's a good chance that this Thunder team, I mean, they want to win games. It hasn't looked like it lately, but I promise you, the players and the coaching staff would like to win games. And this Bulls squad is pretty downtrodden right now. So the Thunder have a pretty big opportunity tonight to go grab one at home.
Yeah, and please make it fun. I mean, the whole point is to show people that the last thing that you want is a victory that is no fun. Like one of those games where everyone plays terrible and you also win the game. That is not good. But if you either lose by like fighting or win, but you win in a fancy way, like Shea goes with, I don't know, 48 points, 50 points. This could be like Shea is not here as of late. He had a very good games. Last one, he was awesome. So maybe it's the game where he plays 40 minutes and scores, I don't know, 50 points. Something like that. Because if you like a game where, I don't know, Ty Jerome makes 22 points with 19 shots and Chicago can make a basket, that is not what I want to watch.
I know. And we'll see what happens. The Thunder have looked less than inspiring lately on the court. Maybe returning home will help. You know, they lost all those games on the road trip, which I thought they would get one, you know, and they lost all of them. They've lost 5 in a row currently. They are 1-9 in their last 10. They currently sit at 4th in the reverse standings. They are half a game back of the Houston Rockets, who sit at 3rd. Then the Rockets have been playing really well lately. They're 4-6 in their last 10. So there's hope there. the trade deadline will determine a lot of things. There was a report today from Kelly Eco that there's a chance that Eric Gordon remains on the Rockets. Now, whether that's posturing or perhaps it's true, because I would trade Eric Gordon, first of all. If I were the Rockets, absolutely trade the man. Get him somewhere else. However, there's also a good chance Kenrich Williams remains on the Thunder roster. And while Eric Gordon is probably a lot more important to the Rockets than Kenrich is to OKC,
How dare you?
Kenrich I kind of have a hard time believing he's going to be moved. I have heard very, very little that makes me believe he will actually be moved.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Gordon has still 2 years or just 1 year after this one.
I think he has 1 year after this, and then non-guaranteed after that, I believe.
Yeah, which makes the best point to trade him not now, but in June, June, July,
Sure.
because you have only 1 year, no future commitment, no future money. When team are quote unquote budgeting, they know what they sign up for, and then it's non-guaranteed the year after. So I think that it's not a bad move from Houston if they have the commitment of the player that maybe wants to get somewhere, knows that that somewhere is not going to materialize right now. I don't know, maybe Eric Gordon wants to come back to New Orleans. I don't know if this is true, but just to make a silly example, they cannot make a trade right now, but hey, maybe in the summer they shuffle things around and he can get there. So I think that it's smart from Houston point of view to at least suggest to Kelly Eco that they are not going to move in for the sake of moving him. Which I think that part is very real. There is no point in like pushing a narrative that says otherwise. It's for the good of everyone, like to do whatever the player wants to increase his value, because you know that the offer has to be good in order for them to at least listen to it. And then again, you position yourself to move him in the summer where the value, I think, especially if he closes well the season, then the value can be at the highest point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. Part of me would want to move him to like right now because his value is quite high, 45% from 3 on 5 attempts, 14 points. He's leading them to wins. I mean, and also the injury stuff with him throughout his whole career has been a big thing. And let's say he could get hurt in March.
Yeah, that is true.
And then what? I mean, that's where that.
Yeah, but suppose that the price today is a second.
It might be better than not being able to move him because he's hurt.
Why? Like, because yes, you risk a second. You don't have any issues in terms of future money. You don't really. I mean, yes, it would be nice to move him because it gives you more flexibility with the wall situation. But even that, like, it's not that they are paying. Like, they're not in a position where they owe luxury tax money for the next 4 years. So it's really a non-issue right now. So yes, you are gambling a second.
Not necessarily a money issue, but
yeah, exactly. You are
at the apple.
You're basically betting a second rounder right now. You're sacrificing a second rounder right now in order to collect maybe something better next summer. Which again, for a team like Houston, it probably makes sense. I mean, you can get good players with the second rounder, but suppose that he finishes the season at that mark, like 45%, 14, 16 points per game, 1 year, not very high money. I think that the contender may put in a protected first, which I don't think it's in the market right now.
Or at the draft, you could trade him.
Or at the draft, sure, yes.
You could throw him in with something else, and get something else that you'd like. So perhaps that's the move too. And that might be the move with some stuff with the Thunder too. I mean, who knows? I would be surprised if they did anything earth-shattering speaking about OKC at the trade deadline. Who would you say is the guy you think is most likely to be traded?
I don't want to start with the hot sauce right now, so I will start.
You know that he's not the most likely to be traded.
I know.
We can get there. Everybody sees the title of the pod. Everybody, we'll get there.
Yeah. I think that one guy that is easily moved, and I also think that they are showcasing him a little bit too much for his production, is Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
I think that like if someone has to give salary to OKC, you give them Ty Jerome, or depending on the salary, Ty Jerome plus favors if the salary is really big, which I don't expect that to be the case. I don't know how much you can collect, but hey, he's a human being that can potentially shoot the basketball. I know that he's not a guy that is having a great season from 3-point range, but he's a capable shooter. And he's a player that if you need someone that organizes good players for 5, 7, 8 minutes, that can be done. So maybe you get that slightly better second by putting Ty Jerome into the deal.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody would have had to really like him at the draft, basically.
Or bank on last year. Sometimes they look at OKC, they have no spacing. Ty Jerome has a lot of contested shots. He's hitting the deep ball at a reasonable percentage. So maybe someone can say, hey, you have to give me something because you have at least to touch in any NBA deal. So is cheap money. Maybe I can get him to shoot better here.
Yeah, I might say Darius might be the one on the move. Not for anything. I mean, it would probably be for like a late second at this point. But I think that there's a chance that he could be on the move. And then, honestly, you look at everybody else, like Shea Dort, Giddey. We'll talk about Dort here in a second, but to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to move those guys today. And then you have like JRE, and Wiggins, and Kenrich. And I love Kenrich. Would I probably trade him if I had the choice? I probably would. He's the lever to pull. However, I don't think that's going to happen. Also, I don't have to like look the man in the face and be like, hey, listen, we're sending you to wherever, and him look at me and say, I love it here. I love Lake Hefner. I don't have to listen to him say it. And then everybody like Trey Favors has no value. Trey Man, they want to see him what he does. Poku has no value and is Poku. Mike Muscala also loves it here too much, and everybody else is just like, why? So there's not like a case to move a lot of guys on this team.
No, I agree. On Kenrich, I mean, if the only reason because you want to trade him is to pull a lever, just talk to the guy. Hey, when you were away, we lost a bunch of games.
Yeah,
we know we will take care of you. Don't worry. We'll take care of you big time. You still have a year with us where you will play.
Yeah.
So no back-to-backs for you. You can stay clear of long road trips. You have a family here. Just enjoy. And you play over the last 38 games, 39, whatever, 36. I don't know how to do the math right now. Probably 36. You just play 20 of them. 22.
I'd be fine. That's also a lever to pull within it.
Yeah. Same with Mike. Hey.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Mike may not play a whole lot down the stretch at all. I would not.
Yeah. Tell that to those guys. Don't trade them. There is no point to me in trading guys that are extremely functional to what you want to do.
Yeah.
Guess game for you, Andrew. Guess game.
Do it.
I have a lineup here that features Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and another player on the court. And 2 players off the court.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The net rating of that unit on 220 possessions is plus 16.5.
Nice.
Guess. 123 points on offense, by the way.
Oh, mama.
Mhm.
Shea, Giddy, Kenrich.
No.
Wait, what?
Just one player on the court.
Kenrich.
That is mandatory. Kenrich. That is correct. Two players that have to be off the court.
Dort and
Yes.
Baisley.
Nope.
Dort, not Giddy.
Nope.
Dort and JRE. I don't know.
Nope.
You're gonna make me guess the whole way through.
Yes. He's tall and skinny.
Poku?
Yes. So,
Poku.
I know, but there were like seriously bad lineups with Shea, Kenrich, and yeah.
Yeah, I gotta table my Poku thoughts for a while. I gotta see him again once he comes back.
Yeah, exactly. If you put in Pokuševski, the net rating drops, but it's still in double digits. So, if you put Shea and Dort, and you remove Baisley, you remove Pokuševski, you remove Maledon, it's still not good. Not good at all.
Yeah.
My theory is that Luguentz Dort can be a pretty good basketball player in OKC and elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I almost made up my mind that he's not a fit with Shea, with Giddy. You need different players. I was discussing with John the concept of taking away shots from elite guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that Dort, he is doing that. He's taking way too many possessions for his efficiency. He's not a player that impacts the game at such a high level defensively where you clearly see the value in numbers and or in one-on-one matchups.
Yeah.
And then you have Kenrich on the other end. Super duper low maintenance guy. Mm-hmm. He does all the right plays, both ends of the court. He shoots the basketball pretty well. He's 2 seasons above 37% on reasonable amount of attempts.
Yeah.
He plays the right way. He screams at people. He's vocal. He's a guy that may not be a guy that locks down anyone in the league, but he made the right play. He made the right play against Garland. He can make the right play against Devin Booker, maybe against a bigger wing. So my question is, why? Why is Dort a lock to start? If you tell me today, and this is the last thing that I will say before suggesting very stupid and insane trades, but if you say to me today that Dort accepts something below 20 million per year and agrees to be Trey-man running mate off the bench to give a punch and to bite everyone, to eat everyone alive when he's on the court for 15, 18, 20 minutes. I would sign up for that today.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is what Lu Dort wants.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's what the Thunder want from him in the future, if he's on this team, to be honest. I mean, part of why this team doesn't work and why things don't work is that nearly everybody is being put in a position that they're not designed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, ideally, the Thunder are going to add 2 to 3 more significant pieces to this team. And, I asked, and the part of this exercise I'd like to go through, who we think will be on this team in 2023 that's on the current team. I asked on Twitter. I got tons of responses. We'll talk through that in a minute. But part of the thing is that I don't even know if Shea is necessarily in the exact position that he's going to ultimately be in. I don't know that Josh is. I know Dort is not in the position that he's supposed to be in. Most of these guys are not playing the role that they should. And that's because that's the way this team was designed. This team wasn't put together to work. They weren't designed to go out there and win basketball games. They are designed to be able to take on significant players.
Mhm.
And there's a chance. You go to Tankathon today and you go look at what the Clippers have upcoming. Like, there's a chance that they've got two very good top 10 picks in this next draft.
Yeah.
And you've got to hit on the top one, but then you're going to have a chance. So, look what they have a chance to do what Orlando did, right? In this last draft, where they get Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner was underrated in the draft process.
Mhm.
Didn't know how he would translate to the NBA level. Turns out pretty great. Like, he's shooting the ball well. He is somebody that can run a pick and roll. He's somebody that can defend. Like, that's a really good player. That's a guy that probably should have gone at least 7th, if not 6th or 5th.
Would you pick him before Dort? Before Giddy?
I would have to sit down and really take a look, to be honest, before I would
kind of said the same.
say yes or no. I really
Can I ask him one more question on the left?
Yeah.
Because I answered today on.
I listened. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was curious. What's your take on JRE versus the 2 second-round pick, where you could have taken Ayo Dosunmu and Herb Jones? I'm kind of.
Yeah. I would rather have the 2 and Herb and maybe Dosunmu. I don't know if I want him on this particular team.
But come on, you can scream Ayo every time you want. That's amazing.
Let me look at it real quick and see if there's anybody else that I would rather have. Herb Jones is like the no-brainer. Like that.
Yeah.
That's like the one I would rather have.
Oh, I'm sure that you would. You're going to say Jared Butler for sure.
Yeah, Jared Butler. Yeah, I really like Jared Butler. That's another one. Or like take a swing at BJ Boston, who's looked pretty good for the Clippers.
Yeah.
I would probably. That's probably what I would do. Is Herb Jones, who we know is like a role player, 6'7" wing. He's a little bit older, but who cares? You're in the second round. And then BJ Boston. That's probably what I would do. Is just keep the 2 picks and do that. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. And then as far as like the Giddey pick, like I really like Josh Giddey. I think he's really good. I think that he's somebody that will be in the league for a long time. I think that he could be a lead guard for most teams. It's great. They made a very good pick. He leads the rookie class in rebounding and assists. He's going to have a great career. I can't sit here and say like I would definitely 100% take him over Franz Wagner. I've watched some of Franz Wagner. I've watched 2 Magic games. A lot of people really like him. I haven't watched enough to be able to say definitively that I would want Giddey over him. Also, it's such a small sample in the league, and Wagner's opportunities are different than Giddey's, and they have different starting points. I don't know. I would still probably stick with Giddey there today, in the position that I am now.
Yeah, same here. I think that OKC is searching for a high upside guy, high culture guy. Franz Wagner seems to be the latter, like a high character, very good for your culture, very well rounded and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not what OKC should try to get with the number 6 pick. I think that elite skills are extremely important.
Yeah,
and Giddey has clearly one.
But anyways, my point was they have a chance to do this in this next draft. Higher pick, lower pick. If you can nail those, like this roster is built to take on those guys.
Yeah,
like that's what the flexibility and the let's see if we can get JRE to play multiple positions. Let's see if we can get Giddey to play multiple positions. Same with everybody. And with that, you're going to get a ton of mixed results. Like there's just no doubt. Like you're not going to, like you're just some things have worked. Sure, cool. For the most part, though, this team is not designed to work. They're designed to see where are the major deficiencies and where is their success. Like that's what they're looking at. They're not going to end this year and bring Mark Daigneault in. Well, Mark, you only won 22 games this year. We're going to have to let you go.
No.
Like it's not. We have to understand like where they are, what they're building for, and so I've seen Lou do it in the playoffs, which I think matters. You do have to ask yourself the question, if you're building this team around Shea and Giddey, is Dort even a good fifth starter for them? Which I think is what he might be at the end of the day.
And to me, the answer of that is no.
You do have to ask that question. And I don't know where the Thunder land on that. If he were a lower usage corner 3-point shooter, would you feel better about it? Because his corner 3 is something that has stuck and has done well the past 2 years. And to me, that's the only thing that gives me pause, because he, right now, of the guys in the rotation, he has the second highest percentage from the corners. The attempts aren't huge.
Yeah,
but he's got the second highest percentage, and it was the same last year. So it's not something like wildly inconsistent. So that's where my pause is, because the Thunder will eventually need somebody that can defend and somebody that can be the weak side corner 3-point shooter. And if you can make Dort that, I wouldn't hate it. But right now, like, he's being put in the position to be the second scorer, and he's not the second scorer for anybody.
I think he is putting also himself in the position to be the second scorer on the team. I don't think that is by design.
Do it though, Michele, would be my question. Like, who else is going to be the second scorer on this team? Like, somebody has to score the points.
I know. Baisley's trying. Was trying at the beginning of the year, and I said nope. And to me, they should start saying the same to Dort. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Like, to me,
who are you giving the shots to? I guess would be my question.
Oh, just give 12 shots to Kenrich Williams. Just move.
So many games. We don't want to do that.
No, I mean, my point with Dort is the concept of the team that you want to build alongside Shea and Giddey. And to me, the idea of having a steady corner 3-point shooter is not the way in which you maximize both Giddey and Shea. In order to maximize them both, you need to move around. You need to be able to create space by the sheer movement. You need to be very timely with your cuts. You need to do all the right things offensively. And when I watch Kenrich, he does every single read, every single one of them well. And on top of that, he is a reliable 3-point shooter. Again, the defense doesn't suffer when he's on the court compared to Dort. Maybe because Dort is pushing so much on offense that it is not the same on defense. That's why I'm saying to you, if you tell me today that he's okay being a guy that starts off the bench and gives a punch, like Marcus Smart in his best years in Boston, I think that he has the same abilities and close to the same issues. Like, he may work as a guy that can be situational in the playoffs, but I don't want my starter unit to have a guy that you already know that in order for him to be efficient, you need to search for a 3-point shot for him. Yeah. He's not the guy who searches for a 3-point shot for himself, like Korver. Korver will hunt a 3-point shot for the entirety of the possession, and eventually he gets that. Yeah. Kenrich is similar. Kenrich moves around. He attacks. I don't know. At the beginning of the season, this discussion seemed like completely pointless. But at the end, I remember myself having a discussion with a friend about Russell Westbrook and LeBron James a couple of years ago. And we were saying, hey, it's not that LeBron takes good shots. It's just they go in. And that is important. Like, you can have the luxury of having a guy like Dort that takes questionable shots if he makes them. Mm-hmm. But the if is so important when you have guys like Shea, guys like Giddey, that are guys that need the ball in their hands and need to generate possessions. So to me, the question that I have is this one. Like, you have already two guys that are possessions heavy. You can give Giddy 16, 18 shots per game. I would be completely fine, especially if you can surround them with shooting. Now, that will lead to more wins. And this is why I don't see Dort as the fifth player. Again, sold me on a bench role. Great. That is good to me. That's why I should go to Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. What does Chicago need him for?
Oh, everything. They have versatile scorers all over the place. They can put Dort alongside Lonzo Ball, Levine,
I know, but
DDR, and
he's
Vucevic.
Caruso.
Sorry?
He's kind of Caruso.
Yeah. You don't want two Carusos if you can? In a unit where you can really play both of them 24 minutes and have maximum production?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that.
What's the trade? So what's the trade? Like, what do you?
I don't know. First round pick and Kobe White.
Kobe, what do you want with Kobe White?
Nothing. I don't care. It's just a name that actually plays for them, and they want to get rid of him.
Yeah. I don't. No, I'm not doing that. I actually kind of like Kobe White, but he and Trey Mann are like similar.
Kobe White is taller.
Is he?
Yeah.
How much taller is Kobe White?
An inch.
Yeah, I would. Here's my thing. Is like let's see what they get in this draft. Let me see it. I just want to see what they get in this draft, and then I want to see because Lu Dort's usage will have to come down. One of the problems is like they didn't draft a high usage guy in Josh Giddey in this last draft. Josh is looking for others to score, and he will play finish when he has to play finish, but he's looking for shots for others. Whoever they get, ideally, you get Jabari Smith in this next draft. And that could unlock so many things for so many guys. So I just want to see what they get in this next draft before I'm just starting to sell off guys that I know are NBA guys. Like I know Lu Dort's an NBA guy.
Yeah.
Like how many guys can you count that are on this roster that you say, I know for sure this is an NBA guy. He will be in the league in the next 5 years.
I don't possibly care.
What are you why?
Because I think I made up my mind. I may be wrong. I may be dead wrong. He may be very good in the future. But today I would much rather have a first unit that runs smoothly.
Yeah.
And Shea, Giddey, Muscala, Kenrich plays very good basketball. They learn how to play a sustainable and good brand of basketball. Because if you sub in Jabari Smith for Mike Muscala, wow, that is awesome. You just reroute a little bit of the shots that Mike is taking to Jabari, and done. That is done. I want that to happen. I want Shea's and Giddey's chemistry go through the roof over the next 36 games and have a horrible bench that has minus 28 every single night. Like a Semaj-like second unit that destroys everything that the first unit does. That is perfect to me. Just give me great basketball with your second. Basketball that makes absolute sense with the first unit.
Yeah.
And learn how to play that way. That is extremely important. We are discounting that. Like with Dort on the court, you cannot play that brand of basketball. When Kenrich is on or Wiggins is on, you can.
Yeah. You just have to be, especially with Lou, you have to be extremely sure on what you think that he is. Part of it is because he and Shea are so close. And I know it's a business. And
I know.
That is like that's a part of it. And, the Thunder traded Jeff Green. Jeff Green was KD's guy. And did that have an impact at the end of the day? Like, I have no idea if it did or not. Like, nobody really knows if that really made that big of an impact. However, like, these are guys that are both from Canada. Like, it plays into it. And we've seen Dort do good things. We've seen him be a good player.
Okay.
It's not like
let's say that we
it's not like I feel like you're almost treating Dort like he's Darius Baisley. And I think that's completely nutso. And
I'm not saying he's Baisley.
Because
he's shorter. Come on.
Wow. We've seen Dort be good, and I know
I know. I'm kidding.
you made up your minds about Dort, but
No, I'm made up my mind with the fit with the starters. That to me is I may be wrong. I've seen it work, but I've seen it work only when he was shooting 40% from the field, from the core. Sorry, that is no 40% from three. That is the only way in which that things work, and I don't think that is sustainable.
yeah.
That's why I have again.
What if Lou? I mean, Lou is helping the tank a little bit here too. With the way that this team is starting, as is Josh, as is Jeremiah. Like that starting unit does not play well together. And I mean, you look at the guys that have positive point differentials. It's Kenrich Williams still at the top, plus 15. It's Mike Muscala, plus 11. It's Ty Jerome, plus 12. It's Aaron Wiggins, plus 8. Which is
Why Aaron Wiggins? He's plus 8.
It's a really interesting one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at some lineup, some deeper lineup data real quick, because it is really interesting. Let's see who he's played the most with. And Shea is also positive, by the way.
Sure.
Which I think is like that's a good sign. I know people have been. I feel like everybody's been all over the map with everybody on this team this season.
Yeah, I was suggesting Ben Simmons for Shea trade a week ago. No, that was mostly kidding. I just wanted to know how much you think Shea can get into the open market for a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that's dumb. I think Shea is long term like a good fit for the city, for what they're trying to do. Like he is.
Can I ask you a question though?
You can always ask me a question.
Of course I can. So I'll do it. I was suggesting Kobe White and a good pick.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood of Dort being better in terms of value than a good pick?
What's a good pick to you? Give me a better ballpark on what you're talking
about. I want a very. I probably would ask for an unprotected pick from Chicago. Not super duper in the future, so that they think that they cannot put it out there, but maybe 2024.
They're not giving you unprotected 24. They're not doing that.
2023?
I wouldn't do that. Not in that draft, I wouldn't. You just don't know what's going to happen. What if Zach LaVine falls off a cliff? Like, we don't know. Like
this year?
Huh?
This year?
Unprotected 22, they own it for sure?
Let's say they own it. Okay. This trade is never going to happen.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what I would want for Lou. I mean, if you're getting like the 18th pick or something like that, is that what you're talking about?
Let's say a pick in the teens. If you're lucky, it's in the lottery. If you don't, it's high teens.
Probably not, man. Like the odds are that Lou Dort is going to be better than the average pick that's picked in the teens, because the average pick that's picked in the teens doesn't play in the NBA that long.
But the point is that you already had 3 years of Lou Dort. Now it's time to pay him. That is where the pick becomes extremely interesting, because I have no guarantees that Lou Dort will sign a reasonable deal. And to me, that is scary, because you don't want to overspend on guys now. Now is the time where you feel you have everything in front of you, everything is bright, because you have absolutely nothing in your cap sheet. But if you start giving Dort 17 millions, you will regret that in the future. Either he becomes a bona fide 40% three-point shooter plus defense, or those 17 millions are awful on your books. So that's why I also think that the trade needs to be discussed. Again, I'm not sold on like everything. If they say, hey, it's a top 20 for some pick, like top 20 protected for some pick, who cares? I mean, just keeping around and then you'll decide later. But say that there is a team that needs him, that want to give you Nick Claxton and a top 5 protected 2028 pick.
Nick Claxton he also has to be paid too. Claxton.
I know, but the ballpark money that you're talking for Nick Claxton is 8 millions, 9 millions. Yeah. He's not getting anything in the open market.
Yeah,
I'm suggesting
I
trades
was
like
also gonna
this one.
say, like, I would be more open to a Nick Claxton type of player because that's the kind of guy that they kind of need a player like that eventually, even if Nick is only like off the bench, big.
Yeah, but again, Kobe White there was not the point. I mean, I'm just targeting a first round pick,
Mhm.
lightly protected, and maybe a guy.
Yeah,
I think that you have to think about it. The friendship
Depends on who it is.
counts.
It depends on who it is. Yeah.
Yes. But see, this is my point of view on this. I would not get. I mean, Miles Turner doesn't make any sense for Indiana to trade for a guy like Dort.
No. Yeah. I don't know. It would have to be a really good deal for me to bite on it today.
But you may get it right now. That is the whole point of selling high. If you wait, you're just selling at price, or maybe not selling at all.
Yeah.
I know that you're not convinced of that. You're the
I'm
captain of Team Dort.
not convinced of it. I like him. I love him. I want him on this team. I think he's good. I think he's a playoff guy. He's a guy that I believe would play in the playoffs for a lot of teams. And I feel like I can say that about very few players on this team right now. Very, very few. If this Thunder team was suddenly thrown into a playoff series right now, I don't know who on the team would be ready for it. I know that Lou Dort and Shea would be ready. And that might be the list. Kenrich Williams, that might be the list.
Yeah.
Like that's probably my list of guys where I'm like, hey, if we could, if any playoff team could just take some guys and just borrow them from the Thunder for the playoffs, to me, those would be your top three.
The connection completely dropped, so I just listened to Kenrich Williams, and I will pretend that he will play alone against 5 guys and be successful. No, I mean,
I was saying that if any playoff team could borrow players from the Thunder,
yeah,
it would be Shea, Lou, and Kenrich that I would feel confident about. Anybody else, if a team was like calling to consult with us on the pod and be like, hey, who do you think is ready for the playoffs? It would be those 3, and then everybody else would be like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know that Josh Giddey is going to be a good playoff guy at 19. Like, I know Baisley, no. I know Jeremiah Robinson Earl, not yet. Aaron Wiggins, probably not yet. Favors, no.
You know that Wiggins to me speaks about the guy that can probably be the best among the remaining player that you did better than Giddey. Giddey will be destroyed in the playoffs due to physicality, and I'm sure that in the right matchup he can be the most successful. We can agree. Besides Shea, but I would probably. I mean, you probably can play a guy like Wiggins for 10 minutes.
I mean,
he will not provide positive value, but
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that I think those 3 could provide positive value.
Yes.
I don't know if Wiggins' shot is falling. Sure, is it a guarantee that his shot is going to fall? No.
I get what you mean.
Because I think that the most of the Thunder community is overrating his ability to shoot the 3 ball, and
yes,
that will be like a big deal for him. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He's looked pretty good so far. Catch and shoot numbers are not great.
Yes.
For him. And that's going to be his swing skill. Like he's not like some like crazy elite defender that is like, even though he's wearing the same number as Andre, like he's not Andre. So
no, he's less than that, but he has good instincts.
He does. You still have to be able to shoot the basketball.
Sure.
If you're him and you're low usage like that.
But he's so smart on offense. He really knows.
I like him. I just need to see more. I just need to see a bigger sample of it.
I'm not saying today that Wiggins. Yeah, go ahead.
All that to say, just that I'm not ready to give up on Lou Dort. That's all. I'm not saying like let's take a quick break and then let's have the 2023 conversation right after this. And we're back from that quick break. I asked the question on Twitter yesterday, the day before, I don't remember, who you think will be on this Thunder team and in the rotation, which is a big one because people could be like, hey, maybe Poku's still here, or maybe some guy that we just drafted is still here. I don't know. Like, let's say that they're playing in games in 2023. They are likely to be going for the play-in plus, in the 23-24 season would be my prediction. So we're talking about where this is a good team now. Who on this current roster is going to be playing? Because I looked back at the Thunder before the Harden draft, and they traded for Tabo. He was somebody that was in the championship rotation, like the playoff rotation.
Mm-hmm.
It was Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Nick Collison. It was 4 guys. That was it.
Yeah, because Ibaka spent a year away.
Yeah, Ibaka didn't come over until the James Harden year.
But you can count on him, like being part of the.
But I'm just saying, like at the time, we
did. Yeah.
At the time,
yeah, yes.
Like and we will get probably an Ibaka-like prospect with the Clippers pick in this next draft. So you can
I see what you mean.
However you want to, but I'm just saying that year, which is about where we are at now, if we were to be put on the same timeline as that first team. Now, there's a billion caveats that you would have to give. Yeah. Like, obviously, like they drafted 2 generational guys and we're about to draft another generational guy. I'm not saying the Thunder are like 3 years away from being in the championship. It's like, don't get me wrong there. But I am saying, like, this is where we're at in the rebuild. And there are 4 guys, that they ultimately said, these are the guys that we're going to stick with. And it was 4. So I know that we get really attached to a lot of these guys and we like a lot of them, but odds are the summer of 2023, there may not be that many. And I think the good thing is that from what I collected on Twitter, most people seem to understand that. Most people named 3 to 5 guys, which is probably the range.
Yeah, I think that we can like tackle this in tiers.
Yeah.
Like tier 1, guys that are very, very likely to be there and to be good. Tier 2, guys that are likely to be there. Tier 3, guys that most likely will not be there. And tier 4, guys that are absolutely not be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that tier 4 is Ty Jerome, Isaiah Roby, Derek Favors, probably Darius Baisley.
Yeah, Darius Baisley, put him there. Yeah.
And did I mention Theo Maledon already?
Nope, but we all heard you. Even if
I think he is he's there. Tier 3. I think that we are talking about guys that are either very young or that are attached to the team. So I think that Wiggins can be there. I think that the JRE can be there.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Muscala can be there. Poku can be there.
Mm-hmm.
Tier 2, I think that Trey Mann is there.
Yeah, I put Trey Mann in tier 2. I would almost put Jeremiah in tier 2 as well. You are a hater. It's I think he's going to be here. I think he's got a chance to be here.
Yes.
As like your 4th big.
Yes.
Yes,
he can. He can.
And contract-wise,
he makes sense to be there.
It's likely that he's here. He also just kind of fits Thunder culture in so many ways. Jeremiah is an incredible person, which I do think very much matters to the organization.
Yeah, I just hope him to be a little bit more mean.
That's one of the problems, and that's a big flaw in several of the guys that they brought in. Is that like he's not mean?
But not Kenrich is not mean as a person. It seems like
no, but Kenrich.
But he's not kind on the court.
But he's got, even talking to him, like he's got this like grit about him, where you're like, I love that guy.
Exactly. he's so soft spoken.
He's got it. But just talk to him for 5 minutes and he's got it. Whatever it is, he's got it.
Yeah.
I think that you can question that a little bit with Jeremiah, and I think you can question that with Trey.
Yeah.
Like, I think that you can be like,
but Trey is so mean the way he play basketball on offense.
I will say I have more questions about Trey than I do Jeremiah within this type of conversation. And maybe it doesn't matter. Like, Steph Curry also is like a very sweet guy, but he's also a killer. I don't know if I don't know that Trey has even had a chance to come out of his shell enough to show that he's got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe the same could be said for Jeremiah. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
They both belong to Trey, to tier 2. Where I put also Luguentz Dort.
Yeah.
And probably also Kenrich.
Yeah.
I think that these three, I ranked them in this way.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenrich, the closest to tier 1, Luguentz Dort, then Trey, and then Jeremiah in tier 2. This is my rank of tier 2 guys.
If we get past February 10th and Kenrich is still on this team, bump him to tier 1.
Yeah, to me is there. Again, this is also related to what you were saying. I mean, Kenrich is a guy that gives a spirit to this team, gives personality to this team when he's on the court. I love that. I just love that. And I was high on Lou also because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I miss the most is not the fact that he's a questionable shooter. Like, questionable shooters like Austin Rivers can stick in the league for years and years. And I have no doubt that Luguentz Dort can stay there. I just miss the defensive part, the grit, the fact that he's eating human beings alive. That is what I want from Luguentz Dort. If he's not giving me that, then it's just another questionable.
You're frozen right now, and I don't know if you can hear me, but I just wonder if this point in the season, if this point in Thunder history is the time to bring judgment onto like hardly anybody. Is my
I was so passionate, and the line just.
My question, and I'll rephrase it real quick, is: do you think that this is the time to be evaluating and making judgments on guys? Just, I think it's just a weird point in the season. We don't know what physically, we don't know what these guys are dealing with. Is something that is absolutely true. Like, normally, in a normal non-COVID year, we would be in the locker room and I would see, hey, Nerlens Noel has an awful lot of ice on his knees. Steven Adams is covered from head to toe in wraps and stuff after every single game, and he is limping after every single game. That was a reality of what we got to see. Now, what we see is post training room, post ice, post all of that. They're dressed how they want to be dressed. They come in, they walk in the room, they sit at the podium, they talk to us, they walk out. That's it. Like, those are our interactions now. So we don't know exactly and don't have a full picture of what these guys are physically dealing with. Russell Westbrook, Steven Adams, Kevin Durant, all those guys dealt with stuff all the time that people wouldn't tell us about. However, we would see Russ with giant ice packs on his knees after the game, sitting at his locker, listening to music, trying to pretend that nobody else existed.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. And if you look at Draymond Green a year ago or Draymond Green in the beginning of this season, you can clearly see two very different players. And you can say, hey, he was cooked a year ago.
Yeah.
And no, he bumps back. So we cannot, we can probably restrain ourselves to do these analysis, or we can do them with the other information that are available. To me, let's phrase it this way. If something is wrong with Dort, then something is wrong with Dort. Mm-hmm. But if everything is right, I'm scared about the fact that he is not the guy that used to impact the game on defense at such a high level, the guy who makes loud plays on defense. I know that he does it from time to time. The steal on Fox, that was a loud play. But I texted you, and that was the only play or the first play that came into your mind, and it was months ago.
Yeah.
That is important to me, more than the three. I can get by the inefficiencies if you are something more for this team. But the point is, I see Kenrich taking his place, Wiggins taking his place,
Yeah.
and the team is not soft defensively,
Sure.
and it's not worse on offense.
I completely get where you're coming from. I totally get it. I'm just not ready to do anything yet. Also, I don't know what picks they have in the draft. I don't know who they're picking in the draft.
Yeah.
All those things are going to be so important in shaping this roster and figuring out who stays and who goes.
Yep.
And I would put Dort in tier 2 because of that. Like, I'm not certain. Like, the fit is not exquisite, and I get that. However, if you get the right guys, if you got Jabari Smith and a movement shooter, and you were confident that Dort was going to be your weak side shooter, and then maybe he is dealing with something and he could bounce back and be the killer on defense. And also, if he's basically just a guy that attacks closeouts and shoots corner threes, he's going to have more energy to do what he needs to do on the defensive end. Like, maybe knocking him down several pegs forms the player that we want. And I've just seen part of the reason why I would be hesitant to trade him or even Kenrich at this point is because I've seen the Thunder organization struggle to find those guys when the time is right.
Well, they never struggle finding good defenders that were questionable shooters. Come on.
They struggle to find guys that could play and close games.
Yeah, I know.
Outside of 2012, and even then, there was some holes in the rotation. They struggled to find those guys. Caron Butler, Derek Fisher, Corey Brewer, Josh Hustis, like the
Raymond Felton.
The list is long.
Randy Foy.
The list is long of guys that it was just like fail.
Yeah, I know.
Lou Dort is better than all of those guys.
Yes.
And so that's where I'm just.
Shall we settle to? It's fine not to make a move right now, unless the offer is too tantalizing. Yeah. And we both agree that his ideal salary is below 13 per year.
I mean, that would be ideal. Yeah. If he takes the extension in March, then like I think all of this is moot because that's a movable salary.
Yeah. I would,
less than starter money. You know,
that is where I think he has enormous value for you, and that is where I told you via text and in our group text. I mean, if that is if he's amenable to that, sign me up. That will change completely the narrative.
Yeah. I think it will be really fascinating to see. I don't expect a lot to happen at the trade deadline for this team. And perhaps we'll be surprised because I think we were surprised they traded the 16th pick in the draft. You know, I didn't expect them to do that in the way that they did. Now, there could be a team that meets the threshold for Dort, that meets the threshold for Kenrich, that meets the threshold for any of these guys. And if they do, they will be gone. That's the way that it will go. Those guys are not untradeable. Like, neither of them are untradeable. I think the only guys that are likely untradeable are Shea and Giddey because to meet the asking price is going to be too much anyways. And there are not going to be teams going after those guys. You rarely see guys moved unless they want it on those contracts, on those that were either just drafted in the top 10 or, you know, just signed a max deal for their second deal. You just rarely see those guys moved. They just don't move. Everybody else has an asking price and an asking price that could be reasonably met. I'll say that.
Yeah. And again, crazy trades happen sometimes in history.
Yeah.
Of course, if a team like Orlando comes to you and say, hey, we'll give you Jalen Suggs, the first round pick, which is the first round pick in this next year draft, and 2 extra first rounder for Shea, you obviously listen because you have to.
Yeah.
But those are trades that's almost never, ever, ever happen.
And
And
Orlando's
so,
probably not going to do that.
of course not. That's that is what I'm saying. But you have to say something this crazy in order to be at least like interesting
Mm-hmm.
to the guy. I mean, I remember when we were discussing Minnesota and the fact that, hey, if the pick lands in the top 3, would you listen to Ed Edwards plus the top 3 pick for Shea? Of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you do. But it has to be an unbelievable offer, which never ever came. I mean, it did for Love, but that was a very different situation.
Yeah.
And you can tell that for Mini, that was not a very good trade. Well, it was a trade that moved the needle for Cleveland, but not for Mini. So even when there is a preposterous offer, sometimes
it
it's
felt
not a good one.
Yeah, they just took the wrong guy at 1. Well, I guess they had to trade for him, but still, like the wrong guy was taken at 1. That's what happened.
Yep.
And that's where the draft is so interesting, is that the wrong guy could be taken at 1. Certainly in this upcoming draft.
But come on, even was it the wrong guy?
Wiggins?
Mm.
I mean, Embiid is clearly.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, it was not a sure thing.
No, I'm not saying
odds that he was
hindsight. I'm saying hindsight.
Okay. Yes, but at the time, if you look at that draft, that was a bad draft.
It was a good draft, but it was not. It was very bad.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Wiggins had to be the number 1 pick. I mean, Embiid had too many health issue. Parker had a lot of red flags, which came to fruition. And then what was 4? Who was 4? Marcus Smart, Aaron Gordon,
Smart. Yeah.
And then, I mean, it was not a very good draft. And I think that Wiggins is probably close to the same level that Aaron Gordon is, maybe a little bit worse, but not too much.
I don't know. I think, I could even make the argument he's better.
Yeah, in the right situation, yes.
With the
Gordon could be better in many situations more than Wiggins.
No doubt.
So it's, you have to be even lucky. I mean, this draft could be drafted at the top is not that great. So
yeah, it is a draft that some people are not excited for at all. I can say that. And you just have to pick the right guy. Like you just have to. You have to find the right guy. You got to pick the right guy. And the Thunder, I have faith in the Thunder. Like they were put in a really crappy position at 6 in this last draft. And very few teams would have picked Josh Giddey at 6.
Yes.
Like I believe that. And you can base it on the intel that all the draft guys had. They didn't have him that high. Everybody was a little bit surprised that Oklahoma City did that. They thought maybe they knew OKC was interested. They thought maybe OKC would trade up and take 16 and 18 and package those to get to wherever to get him. They did not think he'd go at 6. So I trust this organization to make the right call wherever they land. If they land at 6 again, or if they land at 4 or 3 or wherever, you're not guaranteed anything. So it's gonna be a wild ride, and Dort is gonna be a part of the story of this franchise. Whether it's that was cool and that undrafted guy did some stuff for us for a little bit, or perhaps he is somebody that is around. I don't know. The story is yet to be written on Lu Dort.
Yeah.
So shall be very interesting. Thanks so much for listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. If you will leave us a 5-star Apple Podcast review, those will be read on Friday. If you leave it today, I believe it should be available to read on Friday. The Apple Podcast reviews are really weird. If you left one today, I probably wouldn't see it for days. So just be sure that if you want that read on the Fry Pod, get that in. Thanks so much for listening, subscribing on YouTube. We have a lot of people here on YouTube today. Thanks for tuning in. We've got the Fluky in Germany. We have Nate 27. We have Jake McKinnon, Dave Perrick in Madison, Wisconsin. We have Exotic Bars Gaming. We have Chris Ubine. We have Colin Reed. We have W Rose 27, Alex Bullerjack, Tyler Gibbs, James Latham, Rymad, Spencer Smith, T. Dot, H. Rogthar. You're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce your name sometime. H. Rogthar. K. Plains Drifter, Frank Turman, Augusto Sarmento, Senator Kenneter, Scott Kennedy, James Anderson, Dude Buffet. Let's see who else. Thanks so much for getting in the chat too. It's really fun to have you guys there. Goblor, Rod Gilman is here as well. Chris Smith, Hoops Talk 69, as always. Dylan Anger Monkey is here. Oh man, we appreciate you guys tuning in, getting in the comments. It means a lot to us that you would do this. Lawrence Field, Poppin is here. Poppin always commenting. Grape Ape, Cody McChicken. We have Cody McChicken. Yeah, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we will talk to you guys again on Wednesday.